Hello, today is going to be a little bit different video, and today we're going to be talking about mental health a little bit more, and we're going to be talking about what is the difference between stress and anxiety, because I have the feeling that people very often mix the two. So it's going to be a quick video and we're going to explain what is the difference so you use correct terminology in the future. Now, before we start, I want to preface that very often people mix up stress and anxiety because their symptoms might be very, very similar. So I'm going to put the symptoms of both stress and anxiety right here so you can see what they are. So it can be high blood pressure, it can be increased heart rate, shortness of breath, everything like that. And stress also can be long-term as much as anxiety is. So it seems that they are very similar, aren't they? But there are a few differences and major differences that actually make all the difference. So let's start with what stress is. Stress is generally caused by external factors, such as tight deadline at work, maybe difficult situation, maybe pandemic, maybe sickness of a loved one, or any bad situations that you actually have in your life. Stress can be chronic because you might have a lot of bad things going on in your life, and you might also have similar, as I said, side effects as before. So it's not that it's less serious, but it is actually connected to whatever is happening in your life. So again, this is external. Something bad is happening to you and you're reacting with a lack of sleep, with problems with your health, maybe inflammation, maybe increased heart rate, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of ways to, of course, manage stress, and also it depends how bad your stress is, of course. But if you can manage it, if you can do stuff that are going to counteract it just basically chemically, you can try to do some physical activity, or try to do some breathing exercises, or try to do some relaxing techniques as well that have also been proven to help even with panic attacks. However, this is all the game of balancing, because if you have a lot of stress, you have a lot of adrenaline and you have a lot of cortisol in your body. So yeah, when you're doing physical activity, you're going to give a little bit of endorphins to your body. They're going to balance it a little bit, but depending on the level of your stress, of course, it might not be enough. It's not like you're going to go for a run and your stress is going to disappear. However, it is worth a try, and again, maybe it will make your stress a little bit lower at least, but again, we are talking a little bit more about day-to-day stressors more than something very, very serious. Now, what is the difference with anxiety? Anxiety is internal. So I found this definition that actually says, anxiety is typically characterized by a persistent feeling of apprehension or dread in situations that are not actually threatening. So basically, what happens in a person with anxiety is that they are taking one information and they're, well, I don't want to say blowing it out of proportion, but it is a little bit like that. You perceive something as a danger that is not really a danger, and you always find something to fear for in the future that probably will never happen. So that is the difference between stress and anxiety. The reaction is exactly the same. The reaction is, okay, the tiger is chasing me, I have to run, my heart is speeding, I can't breathe, I can't sleep, I have overthinking, racing thoughts, all of that. But again, stress is caused by actual things that are happening in your life, and anxiety is more internal. So it is caused by a fear that your brain is making to themselves. So it can be actually the actual stressor, but in certain situations you will react to it much more than what it should be, or it's something completely mundane that you actually just decide to be fearful of or stress about. So unlike with the stress, the anxiety still persists after that stressor or the thing you've been fearing of disappears. So let's say you've been super worried about what is happening in a month's time. That situation came, it passed, it turned out not to be that bad, but your anxiety is still with you, you're just finding another target. So that is basically a difference between anxiety and stress. The stressor passes, and your stress is going to disappear after a while because you're going to regenerate. Anxiety is constantly almost like searching for something to live in fear of. So I think that many people actually are making that mistake. Let me know in the comments if you think that as well, because actually what prompted me to make this video is that very often I see Instagram posts where someone is saying, oh, I have anxiety today, And yes, with the person who lives with anxiety, you will have good days without as much anxiety, or worse days when your anxiety is horrible. However, if someone is stressed about their exam or something like that, something that is real and it's a big day, maybe you have an interview or anything like that, you most probably experience stress, not anxiety. And that is very important to know, because you will see a lot of people with anxiety having that fight and actually arguing what is stress and what is anxiety and so on. What is also very important to know, that very often, for example, panic attacks are a sign of anxiety, not necessarily stress. Apparently, it's very, very rare for a person to get panic attack if they just experience relatively warranted stress. But if you're suffering from anxiety, it can turn into panic attacks. So that is something, of course, that requires a little bit different treatment. And yeah, and another thing, of course, is that anxiety might show in completely different ways. Some people have social anxiety, some people have certain anxiety around the traumas that they had or around specific subjects. Every one of us have a little bit different trigger. But again, anxiety is something that you most likely will live with for a longer period of time, if not for the whole life. So that's the difference between passing stress and anxiety. So I hope that I explained the difference between the two to you. I know I probably have been going around in circles a little bit, but let me know in the comments if you are suffering from anxiety, or have you been suffering with chronic stress before? How did it influence your health? And do you have any other conditions? Like 70-80% with us women with PCOS will have anxiety or depression or both. So let me know down in the comments if that's you. Also make sure that you like, subscribe and click the notification bell to be notified about my future videos. And I'll see you soon. Bye.